Ahoy, everyone. This is David Eugene Perry with our continuing series of interviews with interesting people, artists, writers, painters, and in this case, a unique actress, or maybe we should say actor. We'll talk about that in a second. The one and only Lynne Jassem. Lynne, welcome.
Hi, David. It's so great to see you again.
I see you again because I interviewed you on my other TV show. My goodness, about 10 years ago, I think.
Well, maybe 8.
Yeah, we were both in our teens
very
then.
young.
Well, first of all, happy Passover.
Thank you.
You're
Same to
very
you.
welcome. Because I do know, because we have so many Jewish friends, that when Passover falls on a Monday, it's like Christmas Eve falling on a Friday. Nothing gets done on Saturday or Sunday. It doesn't matter.
That's right. Right. We just watch out for that guy who's coming by with the blood for the doorposts.
Yeah. I'll
Let him
eschew
in.
that. Yeah, I'll eschew that. I've seen the Ten Commandments too many times. Well, I want to dive in because you have an amazing show making its Palm Springs premiere next month called Being Richard Greene.
Yes.
Tell us what the show is about and why are you doing it and why are you the only person to be Richard Greene?
Well, I found out in my show, Being Richard Greene, that there are so many Richard Greenes out there. People are calling me going, I'm Richard Greene. I know a Richard Greene. Well, why I'm Richard Greene is it all started in that lovely borough of Queens in 1949 when I was 3 years old. And I'm walking down the street with my mom and I see this woman dressed like a man. My heart stopped. And I was like, oh my God, that is exactly what I want to be when I grow up. And the door opened and the next 70 years of my life were fraught with these questions and some answers. So it takes us through the journey of starting with the early 50s up until today. The story's told through narration, character work, multimedia. I got a million videos. I'm even dancing with Gene Kelly, which ain't easy, but I can do it. And let's see. I do mime, but don't get scared. I'm not going to be pulling ropes or anything like that. It's spoken mime. So I exaggerate a little bit what I'm talking about by showing the physical contents of it. Lots of tap dancing. That is my specialty.
Yeah, I was going to say that is your shtick. I mean, you may be the only tap dancing mime actress, lesbian, gender bending artist in the world, maybe.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
I'll put it on a card.
That's why it's hard to get work.
But it's interesting here you talk about your story being a 3-year-old. I felt the same way when I was young, about 4 years old. I remember seeing a caveman in the Compton's Encyclopedia, kind of big burly guy, and I said, I think there's something going on here that the priest may not, have to. Yes, he may not forgive me if I go to confession.
Yeah, don't keep it a secret, please.
Yeah,
it starts very young, very young.
So from that to now, how much of that arc of your life is in Being Richard Greene? What is the plot, if it were, in what's the elevator pitch? What is Being Richard Greene alike, and what's the running time?
It's an hour, and the arc is, I guess, I start to see. I have a green screen moment where you can interact with the screen, and on the screen are 2 boys. They're both me. And dressed like, kids dressed back then in the 50s, and they try to beat me up. And we have an actual fist fight where I hit them, they fall down, and it's all between me and the screen. And that is my first moment of knowing that I'm hated. I'm wearing like a guy's hat and a necktie, and they're like, hey, girly, it's not Halloween, and we had this fight ensues. And I'm like, what did I do? I don't know what I did. I didn't do anything.
Did you suffer abuse at the hands of kids and classmates?
Not really, because, I was in show business as a kid. So I used to have to, my mother would do the banana curls and I'd go to the auditions and I was absolutely adorable. But every once in a while, someone could detect the tomboy underneath this whole thing. And they found it attractive, even way back then. But I'd go home and I'd immediately take that hair out, put my hair in braids, go out and play ball with the boys, you know.
Right.
So I had to live this duplicitous life. And I knew it very young. And when these boys beat me up, I was like so shaken. But I continued on with my quest to be Richard Greene, you know. And in the 70s, I say to the audience, it's the early 70s. And who's got a job for a girl who thinks she's a guy, even if that guy is Gene Kelly, you know? So it's delivered in a very funny, humorous way, but has very poignant moments because it's, you know, it has its sad story, like me and my dad, you know, that he always brought me into the men's locker room and, oh, that was the thrill of my life, you know. I had to check out all the penises because I knew I was going to have one someday and I wanted to get the right one. So
you clearly shopped at Bergdorf's. Yeah, there you go. Right. Well, listen, the show has gotten great reviews wherever it's been. It's getting its Palm Springs premiere. And I know part of your history is something that people of my generation find fascinating.
Yes.
You were a child actor on the Perry Como show.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
And I also did a whole stint in the Catskills, you know. But Perry Como, it was, they had an audition and they picked 6 little girls and we were called the Como-ettes. And there I was the tallest and skinniest of the group because I was about 2 years older than everybody else. I was never a tall person. And he was just delightful. You know, he was such the whole mythology about him was true. Very laid back, very fun loving, nice guy. And it was the thrill of my life to be doing this. And all the money I made, my mother put back into my career. My mother, a former Rockette. That's how all of this wound up happening. I still have the little handprint and dented in my back from her. But and that started me off.
Well, you know, having that experience at age 3, having a stage mother who was a Rockette, sounds like she was a nice Mama Rose in a way. Well,
Wow.
How could you know, working with Perry Como, how could you not have ended up on stage?
Oh, I had to. But back then I was, you know, I had crushes on all the other little Como-ettes.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't try anything because I was working, you know, I was working. But they were
professional.
Yes. But, you know, there you have it.
Well, we're speaking with Lynne Jassem, whose show Being Richard Greene, which is full of laughs, full of emotion. I think probably some catharsis for you even now doing the show. And it's at a wonderful new venue in Palm Springs called Revolution Stage, which is really, really doing some incredible work. They do theater, they do spoken word. They do Lynne's show, of course. We have another client there coming up, Bonnie Kilgallen, who's doing a show dedicated to the music of Dusty Springfield. And most importantly, there's a bar in the theater. I mean, it's
an ice cream bar.
Ice cream bar and you know, adult beverages. It's great.
Yes. And they are so, I have to put in a plug, they're the nicest people. They do everything they can to help you and make it an easier thing to get you up on that stage.
Yeah. Well, in our last few moments, what would you like the audience to take away from Being Richard Greene? And then the last question, what do you learn about yourself every time you do this show? 1 hour, which is great and very digestible. So I imagine it's no intermission.
No. What I learn about myself is my perfectionism. That it has to go, you know, a certain way. And I'm in the studio every day rehearsing. And every time I go in the studio, I find some way of changing it, making it more interesting. And also, of course, my insecurity. I'm a performer. I'm like, I want them to love me. They gotta love me. And what should people take away? That some understanding of what it means to be so different. We all feel different inside, but on certain people, it shows on the outside and it pushes you to the corner. And it's a hard road. It's getting a little easier, but it's kind of like bumpy. So I hope they have some compassion and some empathy for, other people's lives and struggles. And that's all I can say.
Give us the information. Where's the website and what are the 2 performance dates?
My website is beingrichardgreen.com. And you can get tickets at the Revolution Stage Company, which go buy them soon. And and it's May 18th at 7:30 and May 19th at 2, a matinee.
Well, we will be there for both of them. I can't wait to see it. Being Richard Greene with an E on the end, and revolutionstage.com. Lynne, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. And I'm glad to know that when you wanted to be a boy, it was Gene Kelly. My little gay heart just thinks that's terrific.
Oh, yes. He was my idol, of course.
So reporting here for Ahoy, this is David Eugene Perry and Lynne Jassem.